All right. Pete Hegseth has already started his meetings, and he's already gotten one Republican senator to all but endorse him. John Barrasso met with him this morning already and put out a very, very supportive statement. Didn't say he'd vote for him for sure, but said he looked forward to the whole process and very, very praising. Again, new details on this 22-page police report released yesterday. It's another he said, she said. It does not appear as of now that two things are in line to happen. One is it does not appear that the accuser is particularly interested in testifying. And number two, I've not seen any pressure to release the non-disclosure agreement. So I ask again, Dan, you first this time. Well, do you think it matters if one or both of those things happen regarding his chances of surviving those allegations?
Yes, I think the Democrats will push for that non-disclosure, for him to release the non-disclosure. He may say no, but I think anytime you get the nominee on defense saying, I don't want like the facts to come out, like I am blocking it, I think it looks really bad. And they'll smell a little bit of blood on that. So I think, and I've said this here for a while, if I were the Democrats, he is the one I would try to go in on.
One thing we haven't seen, Sean, just real quick, we haven't seen yet any talk of the minority staff reaching out to the accusers, right? And trying to manage their participation in some way. And that's something to watch for. Sean.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, and I know this is like a weasel word kind of thing, but non-disclosures work two ways. And he can say, hey, unfortunately, it's not a question of whether I want to release it. There's another party in privy to this. So I can't. So, I mean, and I know that that's a weasel, but it buys you the time. And this gets back to what you're saying, Mark, which is they have to, like, at some point you have to produce the body, if you will. Isn't that the legal term? It's, like you have to basically say, show me who this person is. And I think, he admits, according to his lawyer, to being intoxicated. And so there's a question again, were you just drunk and stupid, or did you cross the line and it'd be inappropriate? And so we're going to need to see some testimony on this. But I think the bigger question, by the way, is there more to any of these things? It's like, if this is the only shoe to drop, can you contain this? But a lot of times you see multiple shoes start to drop, and then that's when the cascading effect occurs. And so the question is, are we dealing with one or two situations that we know now, or is this sort of the crack in the dam and the water's about to flow down?
Yeah. And just to say, as we button this up and move to the Treasury sweepstakes, both of them have criticized Republican senators, something normally is not welcome in the nomination process. And both of them have far less management and applicable experience to do the jobs than your typical nominee. In MAGA world, they also have positives. But I'm just saying, we shouldn't just assume that every Republican senator is only going to weigh their nomination on that one question of, are the allegations against them true or not?
I talked to one person this morning that said to me, with respect to Hegseth, that they're keeping an eye on Joni Ernst. That they really believe that Ernst, one, doesn't like how she's been treated by Trump world personally. Okay, whatever. But secondly, that her stance on women in combat, sexual assault in the military is not going to be a circle that she can square. And so
sorry, but those are, just to be clear, I know you meant this, but just to put it in sharp relief, those are two separate issues of intense importance to her.
Yep.
Women in combat and sexual. You elided them just a little bit in the way you said it. I want to make it clear. She's got a personal history with both those issues that she feels very strongly about.
Yeah. And for that reason, that number, because I think we know that Collins and Murkowski, I mean, I think if you're doing the math on their end, you're kind of assuming, okay, we can't count on them. McConnell, I have a hard time thinking, I mean, who knows on which ones he fights, which ones he wants to fight on. But then you add a Joni Ernst, and it also gives a lot of other Republicans cover. When Joni Ernst, a combat veteran who has a personal history as this, as you mentioned, says, I'm opposed to this, it gives a lot of cover to other members to say, look, if my colleague Joni Ernst says this, I got to weigh that now.
Yeah. Politico this morning, Jonathan Martin has a piece with a broader list of possible no votes on various nominees than we talked about yesterday. And I think all the names on his list that we didn't say are actually pretty good. So I'd take a look at that. And I'll say, as I think Dan and I agree now, Hegseth is still more likely to go down than Gates.